is October 28th, so there will be only 2 days left in October next week. So the last video I uploaded to YouTube of 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that when at that time it's still a little bit lower below this monthly high. At that time I mentioned it will very likely to reach up to this middle yellow trend line. It's around at least may have a good possibility to reach at 268 or 270. So the actual high for this month is $269, so it's just $1 difference. And I think I also mentioned in that video that could be very likely to be the monthly high. So that implies if it reaches a monthly high, I also generally mentioned when it reaches up to this middle yellow trend line, typically that's a strong resistance. So it typically means it could be the high for the monthly. So if it reaches monthly high, then it will start to go to the monthly low, go to the low price. That means the general trend is decreasing. So the last week, just at the latter of a week, it has a significant big drop from around this 269 to almost dropped down to this $111. So it's almost dropped for around $44. So you see the last week and this week. So it dropped down to exactly to this monthly chart at the bottom blue trend line. So it's dropped down to this exactly touching. If I zoom it a little bit, it exactly touch the bottom blue trend line. It's exactly touches this price is around $203, and then have a slightly increase, pushed up a little bit. So you see this is a monthly chart. So if you know it when it goes up to this yellow trend line, reaches to the monthly high, then it will have a general trend to go down to monthly low. So it's a kind of a decreasing trend. And if I change it to a weekly chart, so the last week it have a significant drop. So from this weekly chart, it dropped even below this blue trend line, but this dropped it down, is still dropped down to further to monthly low at that middle blue trend line. So and then at that time because at this time it's still have a little bit of gap between the bottom monthly blue trend line. So this week it has a lower low, and this low price exactly touch the monthly bottom blue trend line. So and it closed here, it have a little bit of temporary rebound a little bit. So but its closing price is still below this blue weekly blue trend line. So and this trend lines for weekly chart and the daily chart are still have the decreasing trend. But you know, for this daily chart, the slope of this decreasing trend already becomes less. So and this bottom, you see this bottom is also kind of make a temporary support, and this trend is the decreasing trend also have died down a little bit, and then it becomes a good support So early next week, that's the last 2 days of next month, so it's still have a very high possibility to have a temporary rebound. So if it open early next week, if it open above this yellow trend line, the bottom yellow trend line, if it's open above this $207 or $206.8, and then it will have a high tendency to push up. So when it push up to this middle yellow trend line, we still need to be careful. It may have a temporary drop, and it depends on if it still have a very strong increasing momentum. It may try to push up to the top yellow trend line, but it will be relatively hard. So if I zoom, make it a little bit bigger, and so it will have a tendency to even push it up to this $209, but it's still kind of the decreasing trend may still exist. So it may also open below this $207 or even open low. So if it's opened below this $204, then it have a tendency to drop it down to this $200 or $199, something like that. So but if it dropped down to this $204 or $200, it still have a good tendency to increase the up. So it's basically fluctuation range for early next week is between 209 and 200 and 209. So next week, so you see next week is still have a decreasing trend generally. So the weekly fluctuation is around this $209 and this $193. So and it may have a tendency for this, if you switch it up to this so next week it may still have a tendency to drop it down even below this $193, but 193 will be still relatively good temporary support. So but next week is a transition week from October to November. So after the next Tuesday, after this month is closed and completed, and then the trend and the fluctuation range of the next month will be predicted better. So generally for this monthly chart, if I switch it back to this monthly chart, so because this is the current month and the later of this month is still have a strong decreasing momentum, and dropped even down to this bottom blue trend line. So generally it will kind of fluctuate around this low price region, fluctuate back and forth, and it will be very hard to go up. So if it, for example, if it go up to this a little bit top, this middle blue trend line, for this monthly chart, if it push it up to this $216 or $217, so that will be still a strong resistance. So it may still have a tendency to drop it down, so it will fluctuate around this price region next week, and depends on how it goes for the after next week, and it will try to see if it will still go up and push it up. So generally from the next month, so generally it will still have a lower low, expected to have a lower low than this low price. So because this kind of trend lines, if it started to decrease, to have a decreasing trend, it will have a kind of a strong tendency to continue to drop. So we will see. If you are interested in this kind of evaluation and prediction, you are welcome to subscribe Yupin Stock Trend Prediction channel or watch more video in YouTube.